Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the 1/100 scale McGillis Schwalbe Graze. Well, this is a pretty exciting review for me for a couple of reasons. The first reason being that thankfully this kit is better than the regular Graze, at least in my personal opinion. I'll talk more about that throughout the review, of course. The other exciting thing is that this is my first review filming in my new place. So hopefully the sound is okay. The room is pretty filled up now, hopefully not too echoey. And the lighting's good and all of that. So yeah, hopefully we'll see how this goes. The first review in the new apartment, so yay! Anyway, also gotta say a big thank you to MindFenix Hobby Store, as always, for supplying me with this kit to share with you guys. Like I said, I'm actually really pleased with this kit. The Schwalbe Graze is probably my least favorite design in terms of the different variations of the Graze we've got, but I'm very happy to say that this kit is an improvement over the regular standard Graze in the 1/100 scale. And that's mostly due to some parts. Mostly the parts here in the chest, the parts on the side of the chest part itself, the part on the back of the neck just seem to fit a little bit more nicely with this kit. I don't know if Bandai went in and tweaked those parts a little bit. The front chest piece, not so much. It's not too much different, but a couple of the parts there are slightly different. So we'll talk more about that when we take a closer look at the kit, but just to give you a look around here, I will compare this. I will put this side by side with the HG, so you guys can get a look at how that's going to compare. And then I'll also put this together side by side with the 1/100 scale standard Graze, so you guys can see that. And I'll show you how to put the parts on the Barbatos as well. So lots of stuff to go over in this review. So for that means I'm really not going to spend as much time going over the articulation with this kit. If you want to see more about the articulation, you can check out my review of the regular 1/100 scale Graze. I went through and talked all about the articulation for that kit. It's going to be the same, as this is sharing the exact same frame. We do have a couple of new parts here, of course, that are going to move a little bit differently. Point those out in a moment, but for the most part the articulation is going to be the same, so hope you guys won't mind if I skip that in an attempt to keep this review from being too terribly long. So one improvement that this has over the HG is that it has less stickers, for one. On the HG, these parts here on the shoulder, these were gray stickers there. That's now a gray piece inside there with some really nice details, so that's good. In the head, we have a yellow part instead of yellow stickers for the eyes. The chest, sadly, is the same as with the regular standard Graze. It's a yellow piece, and then we have to put these gray stickers around on the side. Not really the best, but it is what it is for that. Otherwise, not really a whole lot of stickers on here. There is a gray sticker inside the head as well. I'll open up the head here. This is how the head opens up. You see the front part folds down, top part folds up. Also a little bit loose on the top, but in general it does feel more solid than on the 1/100 scale standard Graze. That one was really floppy and just seemed really loose. So that's a gray sticker there and a yellow sticker on the actual eyeball inside there. The fin here at the top did have a safety nub, but I cut that off and made that pointed there, just sanding that. Otherwise, the head in general is going to be really nice. It moves, like I said, better. Where the regular Graze, when I put the head up, it seemed to pop this back part off, this part here. But I'm not really having that problem with this. It is coming loose. If I do it a lot, it seems to be coming loose a little bit, but not as bad as with the regular Graze. Maybe it's just the fit of my particular part. The other thing too is that when you move the head around, the collar piece there, that gray piece underneath, is supposed to be centered with that square part facing the front, but when you move the head around, it gets out of place. So I kind of wish that they would have made some little like notch on the peg inside there to keep that part straight, so it's kind of hard to readjust that. For the shoulders, these are new parts, but they're really not going to do too much anything special. Just moving up and down like that. The thruster doesn't move at all, it's just kind of stuck there onto the side. The backpack, these are new as well. If you push these in here all the way like that, that's a good way to make them straight. If you want to have them more at an angle though, of course you can just pull them off a little bit like that and separate those out. Those are going to move up and down, and then the thruster bells themselves are going to move all the way within this range of movement there. So you can move those around quite a bit. You can have them down like this if you wanted to do something like that if you want. Back skirt here is also new, but nothing new in terms of articulation. Everything's just fixed on there. Front skirt as well. These fins on the front don't move up and down or anything, so nothing new to report there. The arms do have a couple new pieces, but it's really not going to move any different. We'll talk about the weapon here in a minute. If I move the arm out of the way, we can see we do also have these new binders here on the side of the legs. So these are just going to plug onto that peg right there, and then they're just going to rotate around. Nothing really too special. It is nice that we have just two-tone color there. On the inside of the leg, this gray part, there is a tiny little gray sticker inside there. It's just a gray part, and then the middle of that would be blue, but we stick a little tiny gray circle sticker on there. The back of the leg, again, I think we hadn't really seen this too much in the anime until recently, but this is actually a thruster that is supposed to point out much farther, but on this one it only goes up about like that. I think recently we saw it in whatever episode it was, whatever the most recent one was. These actually were supposed to come up higher, and they act as a thruster, but I don't know, it doesn't really do a whole lot. The ankles, again, are pretty good here on the 1/100 scale. As you can see, they move a lot better than on the HG, so you can have those feet out really far if you wanted. So that's definitely an improvement. The front ankle armor is able to move a little bit up and down, not a whole lot. The thrusters on the front don't move or anything, they're just stuck there. I have had that this whole armor piece is coming off the leg a little bit easily. That's been happening. I don't really think that's really a big deal. It's pretty easy to just pop back on there, and then, you know, after painting you just glue it. In the torso, again, the nice articulation here. We have this nice kind of accordion movement going there between where it connects the top, the middle of the torso, and then where it attaches to the waist. And then we can, of course, rotate and bend a little bit side to side, but I found that these pistons kind of come off there in the middle. You can sort of pop it back on, so it's possible to do some movement there. And in the chest, this whole armor part comes forward like that. Now, as I said about this chest piece, this is also an improvement here with the regular graze. Like, anytime you touched this chest piece, it would come off, but now it's not really having the issue so much. If I really tried, I'm sure it would. But now at least it's not coming off the slightest touch. The other thing is that these side parts here, now, while they still have the same issue where there's really no like set location for them, there really should have been a peg or like a notch inside this hole here that this should fit into nicely. But at least we have here on this chest bar, you can see there is a space where that should fit. So it's not really like a really tight fit, but at least it gives you some sort of guideline as to where that should fit in there. So it's definitely an improvement over the regular graze. So those are going to be able to fit in there much nicer, and it's much less to worry about. So let's get into talking about some of the accessories for this kit. Aside from the open hands, which I've got on there at the moment, which are okay, it's nice that we have open hands. That is one improvement over the HG, but to be honest, they're really not the greatest hands. They're just kind of lifeless. We do also have holding hands as well, so you got two of these, left and right, and they both have a little notch inside there for holding the weapons, so those are pretty good. Then we have our axe, which has the male end of that connection point on the left or right, so you can hold that on either the left or the right side. The connection point to connect this onto the side skirt is only on one side, so this is going to connect onto the side skirt there, up inside there, like so. I don't really particularly care for that for mine, so I usually just kind of leave this off unless I've got him holding it. It's just two pieces fit together. Nice big axe. Then we have our Graze rifle. Again, this shouldn't be anything new to anyone. We can take off the barrel and put on this tiny little short barrel piece if you want. Just have it like that. As we've seen recently, the 1/100 scale Gaelios version of the Schwalbe Graze is coming out, and that is coming with the lance, so you'll use this and like new part here on the side. So that will use some of the same parts. I just like to keep it the long rifle like so. That's going to fit into the hand. We're just going to take off these parts here, take apart the hand, put that in the peg, close the hand back up around that, replace these parts here on the side. So as you can see, it's a little bit of a chore, but it does hold it very, very firmly. That's the important part. Then take off this bottom part, and I did forget to mention we do also have a sticker here for the camera lens on this rifle. It is one small improvement over the HG again as well. Just pop the hand into place. Then on the underside we need to put in this part. It attaches under the rifle and under the forearm. And there we go, nice and secure rifle there. You're gonna have no problems holding that. It's definitely not gonna drop it. And it's definitely not gonna have any problems supporting the weight, as it's really not all very heavy. So really nice. And then lastly we have our wire, or our lead, which is for the scissors. Now, this is depressing. Basically we just have to take this off, and then you'll have to do some painting. Should be gray here in the center. And this end plugs into here, and then this end plugs into another, you have another small little gray part that goes inside of there that you use to plug into this, but it would appear at the moment that sometime in the process of moving into a new apartment I lost that small little piece that I need to plug this wire into the wrists. Very disappointing and depressing. Really wouldn't be the hardest thing to just scratch build a small little piece to fit inside of there to fit the wire, or even just, there's a hole in there, it's just too big, fill that in with putty and then just drill out a hole big enough for this. There's plenty of options to fix that, but at least just for the review, I'm really sorry you guys, I'm not gonna be able to show you this actually in use, but just to demonstrate the strength of the wire, I'll just sort of pose it like so. You can do like one of these here. So if that was attached in the arm like it should be, you can have it holding up pretty steady. So it's gonna hold the weight, it's gonna be kind of bouncy like that, but if it's not moving at all, it's gonna look good. So that's that. If that part turns up, I'll try to add some small little, I'll do some extra little video or something like that, but for the moment, sorry to say, it's gone. And now for some comparisons. Here it is compared with the 1/100 scale standard graze, and you can see really the big difference that's going to be here is whether you're going to prefer the more grunt kind of looking appearance of the standard graze, or you want like the more like high spec custom version with the Schwalbe Graze. Now, that's really just going to be personal opinion. Really, like I said, there were a few complaints that I had about the standard graze. A couple of them have been addressed in the Schwalbe Graze, so I think the Schwalbe Graze is a better kit as a whole. But of course, I do still personally prefer the look of the regular graze myself. And next, we'll compare it here with the HG version of the Schwalbe Graze. Now, again, this is really just going to be your personal preference. Really, I think they're both really nice, solid kits. The HG Graze, in all of its different variations, is a really nice, solid kit. If you wanted something with a little bit more detail, something a little bit larger, then you're going to go for the 1/100 scale. The other advantages of the 1/100 scale is that it has fewer seam lines to fix, it has more color separation in the parts, so less stickers, easier to paint some of those parts that are color separated. And again, the 1/100 scale does come with the open hands, which is nice too, so that is another positive point for that. The other thing is that the proportions are a little bit different. You can see for the Schwalbe Graze, it's looking really pretty similar, but you can see there are some very slight differences in the proportions. It seems like the 1/100 scale, the legs are a little bit more beefier, and it was the same thing with the Barbatos as well, so that seems to be a little bit of a theme for the 1/100 scale line here. And then just in general, the kit just does have a little bit different look to it, so maybe depending on which kind of look you want, if you want a little bit more like wider, bulkier look, then maybe go for the 1/100 scale version. The HG does seem to be a little bit more sleek. Now let's talk compatibility with the 1/100 scale Barbatos. Now, if you want to use the scissor weapon on the Barbatos, not only are you going to need the Schwalbe Graze and the Barbatos kit, of course, but you are definitely going to need the regular Graze kit as well. Now, sadly, that is because the regular Graze kit is what comes with the gauntlet arm for the Barbatos. The Barbatos by itself does not come with that, so you are going to need the regular Graze in order to have this gauntlet arm for this. And then in order to use that scissor part, you're going to have to take off this part of the arm, And then we're going to replace that with this part here. And there we go, then that fits onto the arm just like that, onto the back of the arm. So if you want to use the regular standard Graze shoulder armor on here as well, that would be sort of correct to do as well. But again, that's just totally up to you, just to demonstrate the fact that you can put this weapon from the Schwalbe Graze onto the Barbatos. You can do that, no problem, but again, you are going to need all 3 of the 1/100 scale kits to do that. Now again, like the regular Graze, if you are going to want to use this with an action base, you're going to need to use this action base connector like this one here. It's going to connect up underneath the waist. Should pop onto there like so. Then we can mount that onto our action base nicely like so. So there it is. That's really about all I can say about the kit. Definitely an improvement over the regular Graze. That's really going to be the key point of this review. The design, it's basically up to you. Personally, I think what this kit really needs the most is a new paint job. I'm just not really personally into this blue and navy and gray color scheme. It's just a little bit boring for me. It works for the goof. For this Schwalbe Graze, though, I don't know, it's just a little bit boring. For a kit that has a lot of really nice details and just a really, really interesting design, the color scheme just doesn't really do much for me, and that is totally just personal preference. Some people, I'm sure, are in love with the blue design. For me, it just doesn't really do a whole lot. One thing that I wish this kit did do that it doesn't do is that I wish the feet would close. The feet, like the HG, are just stuck in that one position. There's no movement there in the feet at all. They don't articulate in any way. I wish those closed, but that wouldn't be too difficult to modify, I suppose. Not really the most difficult, especially if you wanted to just fix pose it, like if you were making a diorama or something. But after all, that is just my opinion. I'm interested to know what you guys think about the kit. Did it do it for you? Are you planning to get it? Did you get it? If you got it, do you agree with what I said in the review? I don't know. Looking forward to hearing from you guys as usual. I would recommend this kit if you wanted to get a 1/100 scale kit from Iron Blooded Orphans. So far, out of the 3, I like this one more than the Graze, not as much as the Barbatos. So the Gushan is just out. I haven't got a hold of that yet. Looks like a great kit though. You're going to have a lot of leftover plastic is the thing with that kit. So between the 3 kits, still the one that I would recommend out of the 3 would still be the Barbatos. But if you wanted to get a Graze between this one or the standard Graze, I would recommend getting this one. But you can always repaint it if you prefer that green color scheme. Just get this one and paint it green. No problem doing that. If we're going to get any more 1/100 scale Graze variants that are non-P Bandai, I don't know if we're going to get a Graze Kai or a Graze Kai 2, something like that, or, we have the new variants of the Graze out now. I think it's possible. We'll probably definitely see another P Bandai Graze. That's probably likely for either the Graze Kai or Graze Kai 2. I say there's a pretty good chance of that. Will we see another standard release Graze? I'm not sure. Bandai's releasing so many Graze variants in the HG form. I really don't see why we wouldn't get another version of the Graze in 1/100 scale. But we already know the next few kits to be coming out in 1/100 scale lineup, and there's no Grazes in there so far. So I don't think that they're going to be releasing another standard Graze, a standard release Graze variant after the series has ended, unless there's more Graze in the second season. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. It's going to be a welcome addition, whatever it is, it'll be cool. The Graze is an awesome design, so looking forward to seeing more Graze always. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.